Hi all, and thanks for being with me. I'm going to talk a little bit today about the craziness that is Dutton and whether or not Dutton is attempting to be Trump-lite. Thanks for being with me, and can I just say before I start, please subscribe to my channel, ring the bell for further notifications, do whatever you need to do. It's this big sign here, and it doesn't hurt to subscribe, and in fact doesn't cost you anything. So please subscribe to my channel. Also, I'd just like to say that there's been lots of really interesting and positive comments on my YouTube channel, and I really do appreciate them. It's nice to have some constructive comments rather than the crap that I normally get. But feel free, if you want to issue the crap, I'm happy to accept it. You can call me names, I don't care. It's fine by me. But what I want to talk today about is, and some of you will object to this anyway, because some of you believe, for whatever reason, that Peter Dutton is the most amazing individual on this planet, and that Peter offers us with solutions to problems that none of us thought that we had. And I'm going to talk about one of those solutions at the moment to a problem which no one was really aware of until Peter raised it. And that is in relation to the deportation of immigrants, or people that Dutton perceives as not being appropriate people to be living in this country, which is probably anybody who is non-white. But nevertheless, this is what he thinks. Now, the reason why this is important is that it resembles, to me, very much like what Trump has been attempting to do in the United States. And there is this effort from Dutton to appear to be what I would call Trump-lite. He believes, for whatever reason, that if you become and appear to be tough, if you to be that strong man, if you're making decisions that are what you believe in the best interest of your particular base, but not necessarily in the best interest of people from a humanitarian perspective, then that's fine. And that's the way Peter Dutton rolls. Now, he has decided that it might be important to find ways to deport people without having to go through the courts. Now, what we need to understand is that here in Australia, we actually have a court system that is different from that in the United States. It's different in that our judges are appointed by generally politicians, admittedly, but they're not political appointments. In fact, I would challenge any of you to tell me who is the High Court, who is on the High Court at the moment, which judge is there. What is your local district court judge or your local Supreme Court judge? Like, you would not know. Most people, 99.9% of people, will not know who they are because they're not political. And yet, the system that we have seems to work. There have been many occasions where the High Court has ruled against government decisions that have interpreted the law. And we've got to remember that politicians create the laws, and then those laws are acted upon through the courts. And if those laws are unconstitutional, they go to the High Court and they get challenged. And in some cases, the government loses. And one of those was recently last year when there was a deportation of certain immigrants. No, it wasn't that. Sorry, I lied. It wasn't the deportation. It was the fact that we were detaining, Australian government was detaining people that they wanted to deport, but because some of these people couldn't find a country to go to, or they didn't have the documentation, or whatever the reason was, they decided that they would just keep them indefinitely. And the court ruled you can't keep people indefinitely if they haven't gone to trial, if they haven't committed a crime, and so on. So some of these people were released. Even those people that had committed crimes, had gone to court, served their sentence, whatever, they could not be detained indefinitely. That was the law as interpreted by the High Court. And the government went back and they tried to change that law and so on. But that's the way the system works here in Australia. But Dutton doesn't seem to think it's working well enough because he has this. He wants to create a referendum to change the constitution so that he or government ministers would have the power to deport people. So Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the Treasurer Jim Chalmers have ridiculed opposition leader Peter Dutton's proposal for a potential referendum on deporting criminals with dual nationality as a thought bubble and a bizarre proposal designed to distract from the coalition's thin economic policy agenda. So what does this mean? Does this mean that all criminals? So what's the criminal? Are you a criminal if you're caught for shoplifting? Are you a criminal if you thought of, I don't know, robbing a bank? Pedophiles, they're criminals. People that fraudulently behave. So some white collar criminals, should they be deported? If you're a dual citizen and you're an Australian, you lived in Australia for most of your life, maybe you were born in another country and then you were taken here as a baby, whatever, and you have dual citizenship, does that mean then that you could be deported? So what does it actually mean, all this deportation stuff? And should he have the authority, or he and his ministers have the authority to make choices about who should be deported or not? Or should that be left up to the courts to make that decision? I believe the system to this date has worked very well, so why bother changing it? So why does he want to change it? Is it because Dutton sees himself as a king? He sees himself in the mould of Trump, and he believes, for whatever reason, that that is a popular position to be, because he's wrong. It isn't, not in Australia. And I think people get confused between American culture and the way they do things, because it appears to be similar to us, but it isn't. Our system is different, totally different in many, many ways from the United States. But some people seem to think that it's the same or similar. But what does it actually mean? So Dutton was pondering an election pledge on changing the constitution to allow ministers to cancel the citizenship of people guilty of crimes such as terrorism, and what would be the second referendum in as many terms of parliament. Now, firstly, we can't guarantee that it'll be just about terrorism. Wide sweeping powers around this, who knows? What would be in the referendum? Why have a referendum when the last referendum that you had, you canned, and you criticised the government for spending millions and millions of dollars on that particular referendum that failed? So why have another one on something as obscure as deportation of minorities or other people that were part of a criminal gang or whatever it might be, which is very Trumpist? So why are you doing that? What is the motivation? It's actually really hard for me to understand. If you think that this is a good idea, please let me know below. What would it look like, number one? And would you be okay? Would it be okay if we had a referendum about it? Because we need a referendum to change the constitution for it to happen anyway. So would you be okay with that? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, be safe.